Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about the tools and techniques that you can use to obfuscate your cryptocurrency transactions. This video is split into 9 sections, which you can navigate through using the video timeline below. Section 1, a basic overview. A lot of beginners assume that cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin, are anonymous by nature, and unfortunately for some, this is not correct. In fact, most cryptocurrencies are actually pseudo-anonymous. This is due to the fact that for most people, there are 2 key parts of the cryptocurrency buying and selling process which require you to declare your identity. This is at the very start of the process, also known as Fiat onboarding, and at the very end of the process, also known as Fiat redemption. This identification process is commonly known as KYC, which stands for Know Your Customer Requirements. Now, you may ask, I have nothing to hide, so why would I want to obfuscate my holdings and conceal my identity? You may think that surely the only reason to do so is in an attempt to circumvent taxation. However, this is not the case, and something that we don't recommend you try to do. The continued development of the crypto ecosystem across multiple blockchains has added significant utility to certain cryptocurrency tokens, such as governance powers, which enable the holder to effectively participate in a democracy, and like any democracy, the ability to remain anonymous whilst voting is far superior to being easily identifiable. Section 2, an overview of the tools which we will use. If you're going to do something, it's best that you do it right. If you truly want to obfuscate your cryptocurrency holdings, then it only makes sense that you use the best privacy tools available. Here are the tools that we will use, and we will go over them one by one. And if anybody in the community has any ideas about better tools or better methods of doing this process, please leave them in the comments below, and we may release a revised video. The first tool we will use is Monero, and more specifically MoneroGUI. Monero is a privacy coin which is consistently ranked in the top 50 cryptocurrencies by market capitalization. Monero provides unlinkability. Your identity and your funds are completely private. This is done by the use of stealth addresses and ring signatures. Now, both of those terms are outside of the scope of this video, but feel free to research Monero in more detail so that you are comfortable using it for this purpose. Monero has had a bit of a bad reputation in some communities due to its use by some rather shady individuals. However, the positives of Monero, in my opinion, definitely outweigh this connotation. Here is an example of where Monero is much better than pretty much every other cryptocurrency. If you want to buy a pizza with a cryptocurrency, for example Ethereum, the place where you are buying your pizza will be able to see your entire account balance and transaction history. Now, what is to stop the pizza delivery driver finding out about your account balance and then coming to your house with some form of weapon and forcing you to send him your account balance? With Monero, your balances are completely private, meaning this scenario cannot happen because your account balance is obfuscated. The second tool we will use is the Tor browser. So Tor stands for The Onion Router. It is a privacy-focused network which provides its users anonymity by using thousands of relays. Tor was actually first developed by the United States Naval Research Laboratory so that their operatives could have anonymous and secure communication. However, they soon realized it's pretty obvious who is using this network if they keep it private so that only their operatives are using it, so they opened the network up to the public. Tor is maintained by the Tor project, and if you have ever heard of the dark web, well, that is accessed by the use of the Tor browser. Now, don't be afraid. Not only criminals use the Tor browser. In fact, the vast majority of traffic that goes through Tor is for normal everyday uses, and in fact, a lot of people in authoritarian countries really rely on the Tor browser to be able to freely access unrestricted information. If you want to sign up to a centralized exchange, you're going to need an email address. However, because the scope of this video is how to obfuscate your cryptocurrency transactions, you really don't want to use your personal email, as that is more than likely identifiable back to you, and that defeats the whole purpose. So, Proton Mail is a free encrypted email service, and when you set up an account with Proton Mail, it is best to use a completely random address which will not be easily linked back to you. And we will use KuCoin. KuCoin is a reputable cryptocurrency centralized exchange which features a lot of trading pairs, and fortunately for us, it allows its users to sign up using the Tor browser, whereas some of the other bigger exchanges in our research do not allow sign up via the Tor browser. It is quite important to sign up to the cryptocurrency centralized exchange using the Tor browser. If you use, for example, just Google Chrome, your IP address may be logged, which means that the account that you sign up with will be traceable back to you. So using Tor obfuscates your IP address, which means it's pretty much impossible to be traced back to you. Section 3, Fiat Onboarding Process Basics. Obviously, if you want to obfuscate your cryptocurrency transactions, first of all, you need to purchase some cryptocurrency. And there are a few ways of doing this, and we will go through 3 of them right now. The first way of purchasing cryptocurrency is through the use of cryptocurrency ATMs, typically Bitcoin ATMs. However, these are not available in all countries and typically have quite high commission percentages. The second way is cash in hand, trading cryptocurrency with a counterparty using cash. Now, this will actually give you some level of anonymity, as the crypto will actually be likely traceable back to the person who sent you it, unless they also have obfuscated their identity. And the main method that people use to purchase cryptocurrency is, of course, via credit or debit card. This is using a credit or debit card to purchase cryptocurrency from a centralized exchange, such as Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, KuCoin, etc. The rest of this section is going to assume that we are using the third option, purchase via credit card or debit card. Anytime you use a credit or debit card to purchase cryptocurrency, your account on the centralized exchange is automatically linked to your real-world identity, and therefore, even if you send funds off of the centralized exchange, those funds are traceable back to you, unless you go through some steps to obfuscate your identity. For this section, you need to choose a centralized exchange which allows you to buy/trade the Monero cryptocurrency. Some governments actually impose restrictions on the purchase of Monero. For example, Australian passport holders are not permitted to purchase or trade Monero on Binance.com. As such, your first step is to identify the centralized exchange which allows you to purchase Monero. You should make an account on that exchange. Remember, any other cryptocurrency you buy on this account will be traceable back to you unless you use a privacy coin or some other process to obfuscate them. In this video, we are assuming that you are familiar with purchasing cryptocurrency from a centralized exchange, so this process will not be shown. This next step is by far the most involved or technically challenging portion of this whole process. In short, you need to download the program MoneroGUI, and for the best privacy and security, you need to download the entire Monero blockchain, which is around 100 or 110 gigabytes. So let's go over this process. You want to go to getmonero.org, and then press on the Downloads button. And now we see the GUI wallet program, and scroll down and click on the installer that suits your operating system, in my case Windows 64-bit, and we need to wait for the download to finish. Once your download is finished, go ahead and double click on the downloaded file and then wait for it to open up. It can take a few seconds, as you can see. So go ahead and on the installer, click Next. I accept the agreement. Make sure your file paths are correct and just keep pressing Next and then install. And wait for the program to be installed. It can take a few seconds. And go ahead and press Finish. And it's good to take your time to read this README that opens up as well. Now we want to go ahead and open up the GUI wallet from our desktop and wait for that to open, and then press Continue. And like we said, we want to choose full node, so press Advanced mode and create a new wallet and rename your wallet to something appropriate. And it's very important to write down this mnemonic seed. This is your recovery phrase if you ever lose access to your account. Make sure you write it down on a piece of paper and keep that piece of paper safe. Go ahead and press Next and then enter your password. And Next. And you can keep these as the default settings, most likely. And then go ahead and press Next. You can see your details here, and then use your password to log in. And after a few seconds, a message should pop up saying that it is going to automatically, yeah, here we go, starting local node in 7 seconds. So wait for that to finish, and now make sure you tick these 3 boxes and allow access. As we discussed previously, the size of the Monero blockchain is around 100 or 110 gigabytes, so it will take some time to download. It took approximately 5 days for me to download. You want to wait for the chain to be completely synchronized on your node, on your MoneroGUI, before you send funds. Now that we have installed the MoneroGUI program, we need to install Tor, so head over to torproject.org, and right now you can see one of the issues. My country of residence is currently blocking access to torproject.org, which is a little bit frustrating. So if I need to access torproject.org, I need to use a VPN. I'll just go ahead and turn on my VPN, and once it connects, you'll see that torproject.org becomes suddenly able to connect. So go ahead and press download Tor browser and download it for your respective operating system. Once that file is downloaded, go ahead and open it up, and we will go through the normal installation procedure of pressing OK and install, and just wait for that to be extracted properly. And press Finish, and Tor browser should open up automatically. So go ahead and press Connect, and you need to wait a few seconds for the connection to be established. And now we are connected, so head on over to protonmail.com and we'll get started making our anonymous encrypted email address. So as you can see in the top right, press Sign Up. And click on the free account and select the free plan. Like we said, choose a random email address. Just make sure that you write it down and input your password. In this case, we're not going to use a recovery method, but it could be advisable for you to use a recovery method. And again, select the free plan. And now we run into one of our first problems with Proton Mail. It requires us to enter a one-time verification email or phone number. A method you can try is going to a website called 10minutemail.com, and this website gives you a random email address. So if you copy it and paste it, sometimes you can get lucky and it will send you the verification code, but you can see here it says that email verification is temporarily disabled for that account. In this demonstration, I will just go ahead and use my personal email for the one-time verification, because the way that Proton Mail works is that because hash functions are only one-way functions, it is actually impossible for anybody to derive your phone number or email from the hash, which is how they store this one-time verification email or phone number. So now that we have our email address set up, let's go to KuCoin.com and try to make an account. As always, websites take a little bit longer to actually load on Tor just due to how connections work. So now that we're on KuCoin, let's go ahead and press sign up and wait for that page to load. Switch to email and enter our newly created email address and press send code. Now you can run into a problem with KuCoin sometimes where once you press the captcha, it says that your computer or network may be sending automated queries. This is just due to using Tor, and there's actually quite an easy fix around this. The fix is to go into the top right hand side and press new Tor circuit for this site. This will reload the page with a new exit node, and hopefully that will allow you to actually create your account. So let's try it again. Email, paste my email, press send code, and we are again greeted by the captcha. And this time the captcha works, so now we need to complete our captcha. So my captcha was completed successfully and the email verification code was sent. I can refresh my inbox and here's the email. So let's paste in this code into KuCoin, and then we will insert our password and create our account. So we have signed up to KuCoin, registered successfully. So once your MoneroGUI is synchronized, you can see in the bottom left it says that it is synchronized. Then if you want to send funds to this new account, you want to press on receive, and here is your address. You can just copy it from here and you can send Monero from your centralized exchange, not the KuCoin account that we made, but the previous account, the very first step. Send from that account that is KYC'd to this address via the Monero network. So now we have received our Monero, for example, okay? And we now want to send it away from our MoneroGUI Monero node to our anonymous KuCoin account that we set up. So go ahead and press send, and you can see we obviously need to insert an address. So go over to Tor to open your KuCoin account and press on assets and then main account, deposit and withdraw. And we want to deposit Monero. So click on deposit. Wait for that to load, like we said previously. Can take a long time for pages to load on Tor. So now we need to select the cryptocurrency that we want to deposit. In this case it is Monero, so type in Monero and you can see XMR Monero. Click on that. Click I have read and fully understood the risks. And this is your Monero address, so you want to copy this, head over back to your MoneroGUI and paste in the address. and then you would input the amount, and then you would press send. It's likely going to ask you for your password again, and just wait. Sometimes it can take a long time for the transaction to process, in which case it may fail the transaction. Just try again, and eventually, with enough time, the transaction will be sent and you will receive your Monero on your KuCoin account. And once you have received your Monero on the KuCoin account, you can feel free to trade it into USDT, into Bitcoin, Ethereum. You can, for example, convert it to DOT and then send the DOT from KuCoin to Polkadot.js and participate in governance. Let's review what we consider to be the top 4 pain points for this process. The first pain point would be the KYC requirements at the Fiat onboarding stage. As we discussed, unless you have somebody who's willing to accept cash to send you cryptocurrency, which in itself is a little bit shady, you will more than likely be using a credit or debit card for your cryptocurrency purchase. The fact you're using a credit or debit card which is tied to your identity means that your centralized exchange account is also linked to your identity. The second point is again to do with KYC. This time it's the KYC requirements at the Fiat redemption stage. So you could go through this entire process as described in this video to obfuscate your cryptocurrency, but if there ever comes a time where you need to redeem your cryptocurrency into fiat currency on your credit or debit card, again you need to interact with an account that is KYC'd, which has its own implications, I'm sure are pretty obvious. So that is probably the biggest pain point. Number 3 would be regulation or restrictions on non-KYC'd accounts. So as of August 2021, there has recently been some news that Binance is limiting the withdrawals from non-KYC'd accounts. Now, you can still withdraw cryptocurrency, but there are limitations on how much you can withdraw per day. I expect that there will be continued regulation or additional restrictions on non-KYC'd accounts as governments around the world crack down on centralized exchanges dealing with non-KYC'd users. As such, it is maybe good practice to, once you have received your Monero on the anonymous account on KuCoin, to convert it to your cryptocurrency of choice, for example Ethereum, and then withdraw that Ethereum to some kind of wallet such as MetaMask and use decentralized exchanges to exchange. Or alternatively, store the Ethereum in cold storage. And the last pain point in this list, but I'm sure it's not actually the last pain point, is user friendliness of this whole process. This process has you interacting with various tools, MoneroGUI being the most difficult, but interacting with Tor, interacting with Proton Mail, for example, is maybe a bit difficult for some users. A few closing thoughts. We actually made a video on this topic because we consider this to be rather interesting technology, and we hope that it will open the floor for discussion about ways to improve methods of obfuscating cryptocurrency transactions. As we said at the very start of this video, it is rather important to have things like account balances be obfuscated if we are going to use cryptocurrency in everyday life, such as ordering pizzas, because if everybody can see your account balance, it's rather quite bad because it opens you up to real life attack and people trying to steal your cryptocurrency. Secondly, there are obviously going to be some kind of tax implications for doing this process. So on your KYC'd centralized exchange, there is still a transaction of you spending, for example, dollars to buy Monero. So if the price of Monero appreciates drastically, you may be liable for capital gains tax. We are not financial advisors or tax advisors. You really need to do your own research. And on a more positive note, it would be really great if anybody in the community could provide feedback on how this process can be made easier, more secure, or faster. And if there are any good suggestions, we may make a revised video in the future. Well, that's it for this video, guys. We hope that you found the information in this video to be useful and the topic to be interesting. Please let us know your feedback in the comments, and if you liked this kind of video, please consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you very much, and see you next time.